so much to get into. So let's go ahead and start with the games that we visited. We'll start with Tennessee at Mississippi State. Landon, you went to this one. Initial thoughts.
Just sad after the result, but also happy that we were able to compete the way we did. Like, if you would have told somebody in the preseason that we would have even been in the situation we were in, they would have taken it for sure. And what really surprised me in the game was our ability to stop the run for Tennessee. We held them to like 100 yards going into overtime, and then we ran it for 200. That was a big shock to me. I didn't think we were capable of doing that because I thought Tennessee's line of scrimmage was a decent bit better than ours. But I mean, it was pretty competitive. Pass protection was pretty weak, and that ended up hurting us the most in the game with the two defensive touchdowns we gave them. But overall, solid performance. I was impressed, even in the loss, and I think we will have a good season going forward.
Yeah, this game feels like how I felt about Tennessee after they lost to Georgia. I know it's the same team y'all are playing against. I still really like Tennessee. I still really like Mississippi State. This isn't really changing how I feel about either team. I think going into Starkville and getting a road win, getting those two defensive scores for Tennessee, that was clutch. They made the plays they needed to make the win on the road in the SEC, and it probably should have been a ranked matchup. So I like what I saw from Tennessee. I like what I saw from State, dropping 34 points against Tennessee's defense, even though they were not winning in the trenches in this game. Like we talked about, that was going to be a big emphasis. They were still competitive. And like you also said, nobody really was expecting this to be the case at the beginning of the season, other than me. I did predict that State was going to go
You did
4
have
0,
this.
and then they unfortunately were going to lose to Tennessee. We did not record that into the podcast. We talked about how we were going to structure this, and we wanted to do every single team and break them all down. And it just didn't make sense. It was too much preseason content that really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But for what it's worth, I kind of saw some things from Mississippi State that I couldn't pass up on the opportunity to pick them to win some of these games. So here we are. State's 4-1, exactly where I thought they would be. So I'm impressed with them. Impressed with Tennessee. It was a really good game. It was a really, really good game. I think we both ended up picking Tennessee for this game in a close one, so we pretty much nailed this one. But I think moving forward, Mississippi State's going to be a giant killer pick
They're
in
going
a
to give
lot
a
of
lot of
games.
teams a lot of problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact that they were 2-10 last year and playing the way they're playing right now, all credit to Jeff Levy and the coaching staff and the players coming together and forming the unity they have on this team right now to be competitive is really impressive. So not a win for Mississippi State, but it feels like a moral win. So, as if I was a Bulldog fan, I'd be happy about this. I saw Brandon Walker, which out of all the state fans that are semi-famous or have any sort of online presence, he's probably my least favorite. Not because I just don't like him. I just think he's kind of ridiculous. But he's
He's
funny.
crazy.
He's really funny. He was talking about this game, and he said basically in essence what we've said. Like he was mad for probably about 10 minutes that they lost, and he feels like they should have won. But at the same time, he's not really mad at Mississippi State for losing. Like, he's happy with the result, is what I'm saying. And so, even people as irrational as Brandon Walker can see that Mississippi State is exceeding expectations. You have to acknowledge that they're exceeding far and above the expectations that anybody set for them. Vegas had their over under win total at like 3.5, and they're already ahead of that, and they're barely halfway through the season. So, all credit to Mississippi State. I mean, it sounded like it was a really fun game to be at. I bet the environment was
Oh, it
crazy.
was crazy. I know people said like Tennessee came over there and took it over and ruined the environment, but that's not true whatsoever.
I don't believe
They
that
did
for
have
a
a lot of
second.
fans in there. A lot of people are overhyping what it was like.
Absolutely.
They're gonna
Compared
hate
to
it.
the Arizona State game, what was it like?
I thought the Arizona State game was a little louder and more energy just because it was at night and just the way we ended up winning it. But like in the meat of the game, this was just as good.
Yeah, and I'm sure y'all had way more fans at the Arizona State games because they don't travel well across to Mississippi.
Yeah.
So, that being the case, I'm sure that was how it was. But great game there. Let's move on to LSU
One
and
more
Ole
thing I
Miss.
actually want to say about that game was State's ability to bounce back from those two just back-breaking turnovers. They went and got leads after both of those. I mean, giving up a pick six in a scoop and score and being able to fight back and still compete in the game just says a lot about the team and the coaching staff to me.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the mark of a really gutsy like team that just
Like
has the want to win. Like they don't want to quit
a
when
lot
they're
of teams
down.
would fold after stuff like that.
Like state
And
team
it's such a
last
game
year
where
would probably have folded, even though that team had some fight in 'em. I know
they
they went
did
two and
fight, they just
ten.
had no talent. They wouldn't have even been in the situations that we were in yesterday
Yeah,
or the other day.
There's Ole Miss and State teams back in the late teens that when they started getting down, they started having key mistakes like that. It just seemed like they lost hope and they quit trying.
Arnett's state team would have crumpled and lost like 52-10
Yeah,
if
a
something
Matt
like
Luke
that
Ole
happened to
Miss
us early.
team would have gotten trounced and it would have sucked because they had the offensive firepower to win a lot of games and they just couldn't. So yeah, I think that's a huge takeaway. Glad you threw that in there. We definitely need to focus on that a little bit. But yeah, moving on to LSU Ole Miss. I was at this game. We nailed this one too. So as far as games that we have actually been to, we are nailing the games that we're going
Have
to.
we got one wrong yet?
I don't know that we have.
I
We
don't.
need to double check this for the next podcast, but I'm pretty sure we're undefeated. Both of us are. I think we're both picking these games right around the same.
I
So
think we are.
I mean, we lock in on these games specifically. I know most of them are state on this games because that's just the easiest ones for us to go to, and we're a little biased. But the fact that we're getting these games right, I think, shows our feel for the game is pretty spot on. So when we're locked in, when we got our information that we need, and we really like how we feel about it, we're pretty spot on. So LSU comes into Ole Miss and does exactly what we thought they would do. They could not run the ball. And everyone was saying Ole Miss's rush defense is so bad. Well, LSU's finally going to be able to run the ball. Even if they don't have Caden Durham, they've got a 5-star running back. They can do it. Didn't happen. Did not happen. And their 5-star running back did score in the fourth quarter, by the way, but I think he had that one run. Pretty much. He had like a first down run and then he scored the touchdown. I mean, they had their drive extended by penalties, and they were going to score on that drive. That's just how it was going to be. But overall, Ole Miss outgained LSU by almost two. I think it was over 200 yards.
I think it was like 480 to like 250 or something. It was
Yeah,
something absurd. I can look
Nuss
that
threw
up.
for sub 200 yards. I think it was like 197. I think that was a career low in yardage for him. So got to give props to the secondary for Ole Miss, even though they flagged us for PI like 5 times
He
in this
went for
game.
197.
Yeah,
It was
career low.
yeah, it was 480 to 254.
I mean, I kind of was wondering if we were going to be able to stop the big plays. They took some shots on us. There was one play they should have scored on that I was like, we just got beat on this play and they should have scored. They had Chris Hilton over the top, ISO on the outside, and Nuss just underthrows this ball so poorly. I can't remember if it was a PI or if we got away with a PI. There were so many spotty calls on both sides. I can't even remember. I was so frustrated with the officiating. Almost had 14 penalties in this game, by the way, just for a little bit of ball knowledge there. People who didn't watch the game, they had 14 penalties for over 100 yards. That's ridiculous. So they missed this throw. Nussmeier absolutely had him open by 2 or 3 steps. He leads him. It's a touchdown, changes the game, misses the throw. I think they might have kicked a field goal, but I'm pretty sure we got stopped there. So they didn't score a touchdown. That ended up being a huge difference in the
They
game.
kicked 4 field goals in this game, correct?
They had 19. They went for two
Or no, they went for
once.
2. Yeah, they kicked 2 field goals.
So yeah, I think they only had two. But LSU couldn't run the ball. They couldn't protect the quarterback, and they didn't hit the big plays down the field, which is the three things I was focused on. I was like, if they can hit big plays down the field, that will be tough for us to stop because I'm already concerned to see if we'll be able to stop the run game. But with how bad LSU's been, how bad their all offensive line's been playing, I just felt really good about it. The matchup just felt good, and Ole Miss dominated on both sides in the trenches. Our O line was actually able to protect the quarterback, and I really thought that LSU had better talent on the other side. I thought that their trenches were just so much more athletic than the guys we had on the O line and better sized and more equipped to win the game. They didn't win that area on the field, and it showed. I mean, we protected Trinidad for the most part. The first 3 drives were a little murky for Ole Miss. We couldn't really get anything open. They were completely strapping all of our wide receivers. I mean, there was just nothing open, and Trinidad was just trying to not turn the ball over, not get sacked, which is what I love about him. He does not force the football, and he does not take sacks. He's not going to force something that's not there, probably 9.9 out of 10 times. That's why he's so good. It's not because he's the best runner in the entire college football landscape at the quarterback position, or that he's got the best deep ball, or he's got the best intermediate passing. It's his decision making. He's played a ton of football, and it shows. But we nailed this game. We had a really good feel for how it was going to play out, and it played out just about exactly how we thought it would. LSU, I think they had like 55 rushing yards. It was less than 60.
57 rushing yards.
Golly, man. I mean, I know Caden Durham didn't play in this game. I saw the other
2.6
day,
per carry.
and they were like, "Yeah, Caden Durham been playing this game. I mean, if he played, we definitely would have run the ball better and would have won." I'm like,
Wouldn't have mattered.
it would not have mattered because he didn't do it in other games.
You can put Barry Sanders back there, prime. He'd probably still get 60 yards.
I mean, I think they would struggle to run the ball with a lot of people. That's probably a stretch. I mean, it just goes to show that like they have talent at that position that they still can't run the ball. It's play calling and it's offensive line play. I don't think it's a running back issue. I really don't. I think if you put those running backs in Ole Miss, I think they probably play a lot better. Even though our offensive line's not that great, they still play better. So LSU has some problems. We identified this. It's offensive line play, and to be honest with you, I think there's some issues at the quarterback position. So the ability to run the ball and protect the quarterback, that really showed. We didn't necessarily get a ton of sacks in this game, but we got pressure on the quarterback. It impacted the game. We dropped 8. That was the one thing I was like, if Ole Miss will just sit back in coverage and force LSU to run the ball, we'll probably have a really good chance to win. And that's exactly what Pete Golding did. We dropped 8, we rushed 3, and still got pressure on the quarterback. If you can do that, you're winning the game. I remember when Ole Miss played Arkansas one year. We had Matt Corral's year. He had like 6 interceptions. They dropped 8 on us and got pressure. Matt Corral just kept throwing picks. Lane Kiffin kept him on the field for well, all credits due to Lane Kiffin for trusting his quarterback, but we just had no answer for it. We couldn't run the ball. We were one dimensional, and so we just kept throwing it, kept throwing picks, kept throwing picks. It was the opposite of what LSU was doing. LSU should have been running the ball, but they weren't. They just had no confidence in the run game. Brian Kelly didn't have any confidence. I'm sure that the offensive coordinator had no confidence, and even the running backs at this point have to be feeling the weight of like, one, we're not getting the blocking we need. Two, everybody knows we suck at running the ball. So like, maybe we do suck. Maybe at some point they start feeling that way. I don't know. It definitely is going to leak into the locker room. I think that's a problem position with the position group that the coaches need to address. So yeah, I love how we predicted these 2 games. We were spot on with these. It was a great game to be at. That was one of the loudest I've ever seen Vaught Hemingway be ever. The fans were going ridiculous. We didn't rush the field. I think that's a statement as to this was a big win for Ole Miss, yes, and Lane Kiffin, yes, but it wasn't the game we didn't expect to win. A lot of people felt like Ole Miss was going to win this game.
I mean, y'all were favored about 2.5, right?
Vegas felt that way too, and we won, and we didn't rush the field. I'm proud of all the drunk college students in the student section for actually staying in their seats, despite the fact that there were at least 40 armed security guards lined up in front of the student section and barricades everywhere. Nobody tried anything stupid, made us look really good. I know Lane Kiffin's happy about that. Maybe we'll buy half of one of their DBs next year and improve our pass defense a little bit more. But yeah, I think that's enough for both of those games. We nailed them.
There is one more thing I want to point out a little bit, though, and that's that I'm not 100% sold on LSU's defense yet. I mean, they gave up 480 yards to y'all, and y'all had that one fumble, right, that went through the end
Yeah.
zone and like took away a touchdown, and then all the penalties. Like, y'all were not far from a big day offensively that could have exposed some problems that their defense has.
Yeah, we had trouble running the ball. All credit to LSU. We stuck with it though. I think we had 23 carries with Lacey, and he only had like 70 something yards. But he popped some big runs. He had a touchdown run, a couple first down runs that were crucial, but he didn't have anything over 20 yards in this game. So it's not like we were running all over him. Trinidad had like 50 something yards, so he had scrambles that we needed. But I mean, yeah, their rush defense is really solid. We knew that coming into the
I think their
game.
defense is still solid, but the way some people were talking about it, I don't know if it's going to live up to those people's expectations.
So here's what I would say. I think this is the best way to look at LSU's defense. This was a bad matchup for them. We are like 5 or 6 deep at wide receiver. We isolated Mansour Delane on the far side against Harrison Wallace. He didn't do anything in this game. Harrison Wallace was one of our best receivers. He barely got the ball in this game. I think he had 1 catch. It was a good catch, but it was only 1 catch. We were able to find matchups that we liked on guys like DJ Pickett and other guys that maybe weren't as good as Mansour Delane, and we just picked on those guys the whole game. Deuce had a great game. Caden Lee had a great game. Stribling had a couple drops, which sucks, but he played okay other than the drops. Winston Watkins came in for relief of Caden Lee a couple times. He had some crucial catches. He's a true freshman. We picked on their DBs. It wasn't Mansour Delane, but I mean, we had the matchups we wanted. It was there. We ran the ball when we needed to. We protected the quarterback. We just have an offense that is tailored to getting the guys open that we want in the matchups we want. And we are confident our quarterback can get the ball to them and that they're going to make a play. A lot of offenses aren't confident they can do that. So I don't think LSU is going to see many more offenses that are going to be like Ole Miss, especially having to go on the road to play them. I mean, Ole Miss at home has been one of the best teams in the country the past 4 years. We've been incredible at home. And offensively at home, we play our best football, which maybe that says a lot about our character on the road that we can't perform well offensively sometimes. But that'll be tested against Georgia and Oklahoma later. But that's a good point. LSU has some questionable things on defense as well. Pass defense, we threw for 300 yards on them. Nobody's done that all season. They haven't played a good passing team so far. But this is a reality check for LSU. If defense isn't as much of a strength as they thought, maybe they're not as good as we thought at all. Maybe they're significantly overrated and not just a little bit. So we both knew that LSU was overrated before this game, and the results on the field proved it. But we might not be low enough on them. I'm not bought on that yet. I still think they have way too much talent to be a more than 3 or 4 loss team this year. So I'm not ready to sell out on that yet, but I think that we're all over this team and what they profiled at. So